Looks good. I'm going to admit everybody.
Okay.
I think looks to me like everybody's on. Is that what you can see,
Yeah.
Randy? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so welcome Hammond North. It's June 3rd at 6:01 p.m. For a special meeting of the board. So the first order of business, the attendance, Randy Vaughn,
Here.
Gil Patton,
Here.
Chris Conti,
Here.
Jan Welch,
Here.
Tim Fritz,
Here.
Tracy Smiley.
Here.
Okay, that's everybody. Okay, first, just in terms of announcements, we will continue with the procedures we've used before that we have not enabled, we've disabled chat. And we appreciate people raising their electronic hand so we can see you. And then to the questions that we're addressing at the time. And the other announcement I have is that the town contract has been signed. So those are the announcements we have. So the first order of business would be the minutes, Randy?
Yes, I move that we approve the minutes of the May 28th meeting. Those were sent out in an email a couple of days ago.
Any questions on the minutes? Tim?
Second. I second.
Tim seconds it. Any questions from the board? Okay. All those in favor of accepting the minutes for May 28th? That's 6, and I'm abstaining since I wasn't attending the meeting. 6-0 and 1. Okay, next order of business would be the update on the PSA, and that's Gil.
Right. We are in day 12 of this PSA. We've already accomplished our part of it by sending the information to Mike that was part of that agreement. We are expecting the earnest money to be deposited tomorrow. That's actually a little ahead of schedule if it happens tomorrow. I apologize to those who have asked for a copy of the PSA. We're still have some files that are conflicting back and forth. I'm trying to get one set of clearly signed documents to send out so we don't have different versions out there. Should have that done by tomorrow. I thought I was going to have it done today, and unfortunately that didn't happen. So the next thing that comes up is proof of funds, which I believe is due on the 8th. And then also, I think on the 8th, the buyer has it's his time to object to any of the consents that we did send to them. And the only other thing I would say is Mike has told me that he's working with the different folks that he needs the drawings for, in order to go back to the building department and get his permits taken care of. So so far, so good. Any questions on that?
First questions from the board. Anything to add on that? Okay, then can we unmute Dave Rosenberg?
A quick question. How are we doing on the lawsuits?
We'll get to that.
We will postpone the lawsuit question until where that comes up on the agenda. David.
Okay. All
All
right.
right. Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions about the PSA? Okay. All right. That's that item. The next item we have is Tracy on staffing and security.
Yes. So based upon our two-person max method of staff being in the building, I would like to make a motion to reduce the first shift security guard on Mondays, as Tim and Mickey will be on the presence and on the premise of the building.
All right, is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Okay, Randy seconds it. Any discussion on that? No discussion for the questions for the board. Any questions from the owners? Okay, in that case, I'll call the question. All those in favor of reducing the security on first shift? Jan, are you voting? Jan's frozen, I think.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, Jan,
Can you
can
see
you
it?
hear me?
My
Yes,
internet
Yes.
is on,
okay.
up on
7-0.
the other computer. It's frozen. I'm sorry.
We'll accept that as a late
That's all right.
yes vote.
Is
Could
that
you hear the
s-
motion, Jan? You're frozen.
Yes, but I can't respond. Wait.
We can hear you. We just,
Do
you're just.
do you vote yay or nay?
Oh, she had her hand raised.
Okay.
Well, I think that Jan logged off to log on again. I think we're recorded 6-0 and will depend on what she says afterwards. In contact with her, we could change that to 7-0. Okay, the next item, Tracy, invoices.
Yes. So I would like to make a motion to pay the Finney Law Firm invoice in the amount, invoice number 50463 in the amount of $2,045.83 for Seaward.
Anybody second the motion?
Second
Gil seconds it. Any discussion?
So, Tracy, if I recall right, that's one of the invoices where they show that we haven't paid for last month's bill. Were you
Yeah,
able to get with them and clarify that they received that?
Yes, so it's based on the timing of when the bills are sent, and when they actually receive the check. So some would show that there's a balance when there's really not. That's why we only pay the current balance. Similar
Tracy, I
to
understand all of
similar
that.
to
So
last
that's
month.
not my question.
Mm-hmm.
My question is, did we verify that they received it? Because one of
Yes.
the invoices that we received from them does show that they received our payment. The other three do not show that.
They have
So-
received the payments.
Perfect. Thank you.
Randy,
Yeah, just for my clarification, Tracy, did I type this into the minutes or the agenda incorrectly? I had this at $2,353. You said 2,000 something. I don't have access to the actual files right now because of the Zoom meeting, but which is the amount?
Let me actually pull the invoice. Just take it a minute. 2,045.83.
Okay.
okay, so
I- oh.
just for my
That's
notes,
what-
$2,043 even.
$2,045.83.
45 and 83 cents. Okay, thank you.
It's
And
the
that's-
same, it's the amount is on the name of the invoice.
Okay. And that's one of the many reasons I'm not the treasurer.
That's all right.
Okay. Any other questions about this bill? Any questions from the owners about this bill? Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor of the bill number 50463 from Finney? Okay, that's 6-0. And we'll hope that, Randy, if you can check at the end, I'm not sure where, Jan, when she logged in, if she'll come up on the first screen.
Okay. I
All
haven't
right.
seen her come in yet.
Okay. All right. Next invoice.
I make a motion to pay invoice number 50464 in the amount of $414 for Burnham.
Is there a second?
Second.
Chris seconds that. Discussion. All right. Any questions from the owners? Okay, I'll call the question then. All those in favor of paying bill 50464? And 660. Okay, next invoice.
Invoice number 50518 in the amount of $3,395.00 for General Corp.
I'm
I'll
sorry,
second that.
seconded by Gil. Sorry, but I was writing something else down. What is the bill number again?
50518.
All right, and
And,
again,
and the amount?
$3,395 even.
okay. Any questions about this bill? Any questions, the owners on this bill? Okay, I call the question. All those in favor of this bill? Okay, 6-0. Okay. Next one.
I make a motion to pay invoice number 50519 in the amount of $1,669 for Porter.
Okay. Is there a second on this bill?
I'll second.
Tim. I see Tim first. Tim seconds it. Okay. Any discussion about this bill? Or owner questions about this bill? Okay. Can we unmute Marion?
Yeah, Jan is back. Okay, yeah, I've got her unmuted. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, she's back.
There you go.
Welcome back, Jan.
Did, Tracy, did you say the bill was for water or porter?
Porter.
Porter. And what, is that a legal bill? What is that?
Yes, that's a legal bill.
Okay.
And since there have been questions, let me take the opportunity of reminding people as that in the Porter case, the primary legal activity and bills is billed by Reminger directly to CNA. And this is a bill not for that work, but for the countersuit that was filed a year ago. And the countersuit was filed by the previous attorneys and private attorneys, and that's therefore our responsibility, not Reminger. Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor of approving Bill 50519?
No, yep.
Okay, and Tim, you raised your hand, right? Or not? Okay, 7-0. Okay, do you have any more bills?
Yes. So I make a motion to pay invoice number 50521 in the amount of $17,708.62 for the partition.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Jan seconds that one. Any questions about this cost? Okay, any questions of owners about this cost? All right, I'll call the question then. All those in favor of paying the petition bill number 50521? And that is 7-0 also. Any other bills?
Yes, I have the last one that I sent over with a question, but they were able to get back with me. I make a motion to pay invoice 50520 in the amount of $102.50.
And this is for which particular work?
This one is for a matter of Seaward.
Okay. Is there a second? Chris Conti seconds it. Any discussion from the board? Gil?
Tracy, I meant to ask this on the other Seaward invoice that we paid
Mm-hmm.
already or approved. But part of that was for asking for an extension on that. Did we ever get clarity on why they didn't go straight to dismissal?
Part of which one?
On the Seward case.
And that question can be up to anybody else who may have been more closely connected, because Tracy's just trying to take care of the invoices.
Randy, I think you asked
So-
Julie that question.
Yes, I asked her a question about I asked her that question, among others, about the Seward case, also about the partition and Burnham as well. And
Yeah.
She has not got back to me yet. So she was, I think, in court. So as soon as we get that information, I'll pass it along.
Thank you.
Yeah, Gil. Yep.
Do
Go
you
ahead.
know, Tracy, why we have two Seaward bills?
Yes, so the second one that I just made a motion for, the 10250, is for the doc review. They certify the service of the motion, and this is Julie sending an email. Gil, to your point, is the motion for extension for the $102.50.
Hmm.
And I
Why
did
don't-
find, sorry, go ahead, Gil.
What was the question that you had for them that they answered,
Me?
Tracy?
Oh,
What's that?
The question that you asked Finney about this particular invoice?
Oh, the question I had for Finney was this one did not have the details associated with it at the top. So when I look at these invoices, I asked them to put a reference case ID number at the top, and they didn't have one. So he sent back a description of everything in the email that I wrote and sent to you guys, just to verify that the invoice is for what it is for.
I also did verify in one of the bills this afternoon that Julie is asking for dismissal of us from this case, as she did in the original
Previous
case.
case. Mhm.
There may have been an earlier delay. I didn't find that. I'm sure it's earlier.
Well, they filed for an extension, if that's the question. I mean, that's my question. They filed for an extension and moved it into June, and which ended up costing us more money, and now we're doing a dismissal. I'd just like to know why we did that versus going straight to dismissal, which is what the other defendants did. So from my perspective, I would rather hold off until we get an answer on that.
Mhm.
It's only the
Chris?
$104 one, but
That is my suggestion as well. Let's hold up on paying that invoice until we get an understanding of why.
Randy,
And
is
move-
Julie going to get back with you? Because what's in this bill is the email correspondence back to the court. So will she send you an update?
I hope so. Yeah, I asked
Okay.
her for that.
Okay.
Anybody else?
So
Chris?
I move that we table the motion.
Second.
All right. It's been a while since we've tabled a motion. I think it takes precedent, it cuts off debate, and I think we vote on tabling.
You're right.
Okay. All
I'll
those in
second
fa-
tabling, or all in favor for tabling?
Okay,
Not yet.
we are.
Are we asking?
Okay,
I'm not in
But-
favor of it.
okay. 6-1 on tabling it. Okay,
Hey, Randy, once she sends you a confirmation back, just let me know. And I'll hold off on sending that invoice over.
Okay.
Okay, is that it for the bills, Tracy?
That's it.
Okay. All right, the next item I have on the agenda would be update on the fob system, which is really nothing much has changed, but Tim, I think, did you want to handle that?
Yeah, I spoke to, or I communicated with Greg. Uh, They, the security system, as we discussed the other day, the security provider had to come in to take a look at the on-site computer system to try to figure out what they can do. And unfortunately, they showed up on Monday morning about 8:30, just about the same time that the electric went out in the building. And apparently he hung around for a while. The generator kicked on, but for some reason the generator then kicked off. So there was no power available for the security system to do their work that they needed to do. So Greg has rearranged for them to be in on Friday morning. They'll be back on Friday morning to take a look at the system. They did give him some encouragement that they think that there's some ways that they're going to be able to manipulate the system for what we're looking for, but we won't know that until Friday.
Any questions about any of that from the board or the owners?
If there's a scenario where it's all or nothing, we would just have to figure out how would we have the box out there to collect dues and other things like that. So if you can just let us know.
Yeah. Well, it's more complicated than that because we got
Yeah.
the fire department involved
Right.
also.
Right.
Okay, if there are no other questions, we'll move the agenda then. The next item is legal. So Randy, do you want to go with the first couple of cases?
Sure, as I just alluded to, on the Seward and Burnham matters. Seward, we asked essentially what Gil was asking, and that is when and why are we, well, not why, when are we going for the dismissal on this? And I will ask what was that delay about? Why did we do that? I mean, I did ask that. I haven't heard back, as I said. On Burnham, as we reported last week, this thing was agreed to by us and the insurance companies that sued Burnham. We reached an agreement. One of the lawyers for one of the insurance companies was supposed to write this agreement. There is now some disagreement among those lawyers with the insurance companies. It has nothing to do with us, other than it is just delaying the whole matter. I've asked Julie if there's any word on that, and if there's any way she can put pressure or anything she can do to try to shake that loose and get that document written up. Again, that was in the same package as the other question I asked her, and so I haven't heard anything back on that yet. On the well, if we stay with Julie, another question that I put forward, we saw there's a calendar, a court calendar, and we are supposed to have and I don't have the dates written down, but we are supposed to have a hearing about the partition in September 28th, I believe it is.
It is.
And it was originally scheduled for one time. That was canceled, and then another one was added on the court calendar. It's a little hard to figure out exactly if what I just said is exactly the case. So I've asked Julie, could she please explain that? Again, we're all waiting. On Porter case, I spoke with Brandon who is one of the two lawyers from Reminger that is representing Hammond North in that suit. Nothing has really happened in that since in February or so, when we bounced back and forth with some offers and counter offers that came to nothing. Nobody moved on those too much. So it's kind of just been sitting there. I asked Ian or Brandon what's going on with that. They are preparing to depose some board members and in that suit. Additionally, they are going back over all of the information, all of the evidence, if you call it that was presented in the two trials, in the first trial and then in the appeal. And they're getting that all lined up, getting that organized, scouring it to see if there are holes in it, if there's other information that needs to be discovered or investigated. And so that's where they are with that. That is all about, he's used the phrase that it's all about to get rapidly in motion. So, but right now, as far as what has happened, there's not a lot to report on Porter. And I think that's everything I have.
Any questions on those cases from the board members or the owners? Gil?
You're gonna go next into about the appraisal status?
Yeah, that's on the petition. I was going to hold off on that, just to see if there are any questions on Seward, Burnham, and Porter that Randy just reported on. Okay, seeing none with petition, Jan, you want to explain your communication with Chris Finney?
Right, so the question had arisen as to whether we had any flexibility. Can people hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Any flexibility with the partition timing, considering we're working on this direct sale? And you can't just call a judge and ask him that, right? So there's a hearing scheduled on that topic for June 16th. It's not a public hearing, it's the judge and counsel, but they had to notify opposing counsel. So it's June 16th at 1:30. So we'll get a little more information about how flexible the judge is willing to be should we need it after that hearing.
Thank you. Tim, you want to describe with the update on the appraisal?
Yeah, I've been working on updating the appraisal as we discussed in previous meetings. Colliers, who was the appraiser, basically submitted a duplicate appraisal of what they had done in December of 24. And as a result of some miscommunications on our part, we went back to them and asked them to consider reevaluating that appraisal in order to comprehend the money that was spent in the first few months of 2025 on TRS and Hunt and a couple other smaller amounts with some other people who we had contracts with to add to the value of that appraisal. They initially weren't very happy about that, but they said that go ahead and do it. So I finally got that package put together today. I distributed it to the board for them to take a look at real quick. And my intention is to send that to Julie in the morning so that they can evaluate the possibility of updating that appraisal to reflect the amount of work that was done in early 2025 or the first half of 2025 on the building. So that's our plan. Unfortunately, In order to update that appraisal, Colliers is asking for a fee to update the appraisal of $3,000. I think it's in our best interest to do that because it protects us. I think it's going to protect us in our current circumstance in the event that anything happens where the direct sale falls through and we end up in partition. I think it's a good insurance policy for us to go ahead and get this appraisal updated because we did a significant amount of work, spent a significant amount of money. And I am not naive enough to believe that we will get full credit for all the money that we spent, but I do believe that we should get a credit for a significant portion of the money that was done in the first half of 2025.
So I have Jan and then Randy and then Chris.
So I would, I mean, the idea here is to increase our appraisal, hopefully, you know, by some amount. And I know Tim's done a lot of work and has generated information that demonstrates how much was spent and the benefit that the building received from that. So I'd like to move that we approve this $3,000 as much as we wish we didn't have to. I'd like to move that we approve it.
Is there a second? A second on the motion? Tim seconds. Tim seconds it.
Now discuss.
Okay. Then I had Randy, then Chris, and then Tracy, I think. Randy, do you had your hand up earlier?
Am I up? Yeah, okay. I'm kind of confused. When we got that first appraisal from them a month ago or whenever that was, 2 months ago, why didn't they have all this information that they should have had? Is that our fault then? Is that why we have to pay another $3,000 to do this? You know, I mean, it's like
there was a series of communications in the beginning of April. This was sort of a rush job. The fact that we had to do the appraisal came up quite hurriedly, and there was some miscommunication on our part in terms of they did ask for updated figures, and we did not provide those updated figures.
Okay, all right.
Chris?
That was my question as well.
Okay. Tracy?
Did they say whether they were going to complete the appraisal first and then bill us for the time they spent, or did they want the $3,000 up front? Did they say?
I don't know the specifics. They basically just told Julie that it's going to be $3,000.
The sense I got
If-
from the
if we-
email is that they want a commitment that we would pay it.
Right.
I don't think we'll be billed till after the work is done.
And that's what I'm asking. If we're not billed until after the work is done, totally fine. I just wanted to make sure we didn't have to pay it up front.
Yeah, they're asking for a commitment that we will pay the $3,000.
Okay. Did they say how long it'd take to finish it, or?
I'm sure they're going to need to take a look at what I'm sending them because I'm sending them quite an extensive amount of work. There's probably 100 invoices that they're going to have to go through.
And let me know if you need more. I've saved them all down to my computer. Just let me know.
No, I think I pretty much got what I wanted. There were a couple that Greg had to go back and copy for me that I didn't have, but
Okay.
He had sent me a pretty extensive amount of invoices early on. That's part of why it took me so long, is to go through all that paperwork and sort out the stuff that was appropriate for trying to add value, and there was other stuff that, you know, like Hunt did, putting up 2x4s to keep people from falling through the walls and stuff like that. So some of that stuff wasn't really appropriate for adding value to the building. I had to sort that stuff out.
Tim, do you have a rough estimate as to how much money the bills that you sent around to all of us, how many millions of dollars that was that they didn't have available in December of 24?
what I have submitted to them is about a little over $7 million in money that was spent in the first half of 2025, primarily with TRS and Hunt, some money with the architect, some money with Auburn Environmental in terms of what they were doing in terms of the testing they were doing to clear the building, and a little bit of money with Mac Perrin, who was also doing some environmental work.
Any other questions from the board? Sorry.
Probably like 95% of the money is Hunt and TRS.
Gil?
Would like to amend the motion to include that Tim will challenge the cost with Colliers, and if he can negotiate it down, fine, and if he can't, then we pay the amount.
The motion was made, I think, by Jan.
Yeah, I'm not inclined to accept that. I don't know, what do other people think?
It's basically another motion, so either somebody seconds it or they don't.
Okay.
Well, we should finish the first. It's either an amendment, or if it's a second motion, we have to vote on this motion first. I think
It's an
one.
amendment. It's an amendment.
Yeah, so I think that is there. Okay, so we could vote on this. Gil has made a motion, so is Randy, your hand up?
Yeah, question. Jan, what was the wording of your first motion?
I'd like to, I move that we approve the request for an additional $3,000 to obtain an updated appraisal based on the information Tim sent.
So if Jan does want to accept it, I think then, as Gil said, it's a motion to amend it. So then the question is there a second to the amendment motion that Gil said? Which, why don't you repeat it, Gil? I could paraphrase it, but why don't you repeat it?
Just like the motion to include the opportunity to challenge Colliers on that amount. And if we find that it's acceptable in Tim's mind, that we go ahead with it. Pay the full amount.
So is there a second to Gil's motion?
Whether there's a second or not, I will bring that up with Colliers.
Thank you.
All right. So Gil, we don't have to take this to a vote then? That's agreeable.
Well, there's no second.
This is true. I was trying to
So-
just ask Gil.
So,
Okay.
Vote on my motion then, right?
Marion
Okay, then we have a motion.
Marion has her hand up.
Yes, Marion. Can we unmute Marion?
Yeah. I'm not sure. Are you saying that the only thing that we're submitting are the invoices? Because I would like to hear that there's a narrative about what was done, because they could come back and say, oh, this was not good money spent. It didn't add anything to the value of the building. So a narrative would perhaps be more convincing. That's
Invoices have descriptions of the work completed.
okay.
Let me ask a question, Tim. Do you think that they will come back and look at the building? Or I don't think they looked at the building since December 25.
Christian came back a week and a half ago and went through the building with me, and he was very positive on the fact that he saw how much different the building was than when he surveyed it the first time. He acknowledged the fact that there was a significant amount of work done since he had been here before. To continue Marion's discussion, the Hunt invoices, for the most part, are very descriptive in the work that was done. The TRS invoices aren't quite as descriptive, so we may have to do a little bit more work there.
Can we unmute Linda?
Linda, you can unmute yourself.
Linda, you should be able to unmute yourself.
If you're on a computer in the lower corner, there's a button that says audio. You should be able to hit that button and unmute yourself.
Well, I'm sorry, Linda, you can send us an email about your question. But I think we should move along. Are there any other questions then? All right, I think the next order of business will be a vote on,
Are we,
We
okay,
did.
I'm sorry,
are we gonna vote on the motion?
vote on the motion, correct. You're right. So it's a voting on the motion to approve the 3,000 payment after the work is done of Collier's additional $3,000 to evaluate the additional information we have on the building's worth appraised value. So all those in favor? Okay, that's 7-0. Okay. Okay. The next item and last item we have is that some board members have requested that we have a list of all the responsibilities for the various committees and lead for the work. So I sent out a draft of that to all the board members this afternoon. I'll be working with the board members to finalize that, and we should have that finalized for public discussion at the next board meeting. Gil.
Also, just wanted to mention that on insurance, both the D&O and the building insurance, that you and I are meeting with the insurance company about that tomorrow.
Correct.
So we'll have an update for next week. And
Is
then
it up with Jan?
So if this topic is over, did you want to discuss the timeline?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we could do the time, but let's just do the assignments.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, repeat your point then, Gil.
about the insurance.
Insurance, correct. So yeah, we're gonna have that meeting, but I would just like to repeat what other members, owners, board members have said, and the experience of previous board members. We don't expect to have anything till literally days before July 1st when insurance is due. Okay. So yes, I know there's talk of a timeline. Jan, do you want to present something?
Yeah, I sent a request to share. There. Can you see it? No.
Randy, can you do that?
Or I can just
Yeah.
read through it.
What? Jan, you should.
Well, I should be able to do it myself, but there
Yeah.
it is, I think. Here it is. Okay, can people see that?
No,
Yeah.
it's not sure.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Yes.
Okay, so the timeline for the Hammond sale. May 22nd, the PSA was fully executed. I can see some people just getting out their calendars to do the calculations. I double checked all this stuff. This may or may not, go exactly as it's written here because these deals never do. But this, according to the PSA, this is our timeline. Then the next date that I think was major was on May 29th, the existing consent to sell forms were submitted and acknowledged. And the buyer has 10 days to object to any, and we've not heard anything yet. That will be June 9th. That's with the acknowledgement that we have 179 consent to sell. The next deadline, I think Gil may have referenced this, is June 7th, which is 5 days following the acceptance date Hammond is due a letter from the financing source confirming the availability of funding to pay the purchase price.
Jan, I don't believe that date is correct.
No, I think you're right. Do you know what that is?
I mentioned it earlier. I believe it is the 8th.
Yeah, okay.
No, I think it's the 8th.
Okay, so it's
What you said-
it's
I think that's what
fairly
you said
soon.
earlier, Gil, was the 8th.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay. So let me go down a little bit. Okay. August 20th, the due diligence period ends. And that happens to be the date of the entitlement period also. Now, there is a stipulation in the document that says that the buyer can have an optional extension of 90 days, but if they don't need that, then that would be due on August 20th. Then the next due date after that is October 19th. The deeds are due 60 days after the end of due diligence, which is, of course, the same as the end of entitlement. The closing date is 60 days after the end of the entitlement period, and that would be October 19th. Now, if there is a need for an extended entitlement period, that triggers new dates, and that would be, that would extend it, that's not due diligence, it would be extended,
Entitlement period.
thank you, the entitlement period would be November 18th, and that would move the closing date to January 18th.
Any comments from the board on this? Randy?
The October 19th, you say the deeds are due.
Right,
So-
the PSA says the deeds are due 60 days after due diligence.
So that's at closing, the deeds are due.
Well, it happened, yes, it would not be the same as the closing date for, if there's an extended, entitlement period. But it happens to fall on the same date if there's not an extended period. So I don't know that.
The title company doesn't need those before the closing?
Well, they would. So that's a conflict that I think wasn't anticipated before it was signed. So we may need to discuss that. Maybe we could start it a little earlier or something.
Any other questions
Yeah.
for the board? I can only see 4 board members, so Tracy.
Hey, Jan, quick question. Are you standing up the committee again to do that collection again? And if so, let me know if you need assistance.
Thank you. You're talking about the deeds committee?
Yes.
Yes,
Mhm.
in fact, Janet Schoenbachler and I had a conversation today, so we're getting ready to gear up again. And I think we discussed last week, there's a point at which we'll be ready to start this. What was that? What triggers that? I forget. It's the buyer, I think. So we haven't gotten the word it's okay to do that yet. But
Okay.
we're gearing up, and it sounds like it may be the same title company that we were working with before, which will help with the transition. So, and a couple of people have already been sending in renewed information. One owner sent information that they were going to be out of town, and is there something they could do? And I made note of that. We'll be getting back to that person. So everybody's asking the right questions, and it's ready to get to work.
Okay, can you stop the sharing, Jan, so it's easier to see everybody?
Yep.
Okay, any other questions from the board on this timeline? All right, David?
Are we able to talk about how the lawsuits would affect the closing dates and the partition and whatnot.
Randy, do you want to handle? Yes.
As I understand it, there would be no, well, does the PSA have anything about lawsuits in it?
It does not.
Okay, then there would be, as I understand it, there's no effect. The association is still going to continue as long as there are open lawsuits. All we would be doing would be selling the building. We would still be an association without a building. So, yeah,
Doesn't
the
affect-
lawsuits can.
David, it doesn't affect the closing. What it affects is the distribution of funds after the closing.
Mhm.
Right, we would have to
Right.
hold back funding for distribution to pay any legal fees or any type of costs associated with the lawsuits.
Jan?
Can we go with a direct sale rather than the partition?
That's our
If it
intent.
goes through,
We
yeah,
hope to. Yeah, we hope to.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
having just reread that section today, it's fresh in my mind. They do mention the lawsuits, but they just say that there cannot be any lawsuits that would interfere with this closing. And maybe somebody has the legal language fresher in their mind than I do. But what I understand is that we have to reserve money that would cover the lawsuits, and then that does not have to interfere with selling the building.
I believe also the language is lawsuits were basically against the building. Lawsuits that basically the new owner would have liability on that. So that's what I read it, but we'd have to go back and read the exact language, and we can do that in the next meeting.
that's
When are we
the,
able to make the decision that we don't need the partition anymore and can stop paying for it because the building's sold?
Well, I think there is a provision that the partition ends at the when the building when it closes.
Okay,
I don't think, yeah, I don't.
so stall the
think of-
partition.
We're grabbing two things right now, and I think we don't want to let go of one in case the other one is ripped out of our hands, if you understand what I'm saying. So we're keeping both of those going as a
For now.
safety.
Yeah, for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay, John?
I think people are getting things confused. He is not buying the association, he's buying the building. The building doesn't have a lawsuit, the association does. And what Tracy is saying, keep me honest, Tracy, is that you're basically holding money from this for the association to cover these costs, not the building. The building sells, it's in the association distribute. And then the other thing about the partition, I think you've gone through this before, Randy. We would all like to end the partition. And if we were 100% sure the sale would go through, we could. But we can't. And if we end the partition, isn't it true that we'd have to start all over and all that money, we'd have to spend double and then we would have to delay it like a year or two at least? Isn't that right?
Well, there's we probably, and that's as close as we can get there. If the judge says, okay, we're ready to, I'm ready to put up the building for auction. If we're still in this contract, we have to tell the judge, well, we're still in this contract to sell the building. Then it's up to the judge. What does he want to do? Does he want to say, okay, well, then the heck with it. We won't extend anything. We'll just dismiss this. And then if he dismisses it, and for whatever reason, we can't get the building sold, with the PSA, yeah, then we would have to start over. Our best hope would be that the judge would be tolerant and say, okay, we will wait and see, how much time do you need to get the building sold? And, hopefully he would delay it and go that way, but we don't know.
That's
The lawyers
purpose
don't
of
know.
the June 16th.
Okay,
meeting.
Jan, Gil had his hand up.
Actually, Jan is answering the question the way I was going to answer. Go ahead, Jan.
That's the purpose of the meeting for June 16th, is for Finney to find out how willing the judge is willing to be.
If that arises, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to decide what the line in the sand is that we can, that the direct sale has gone far enough along that we're 100% confident that it's going to go through, at which time we can quit pursuing the partition. But until we get to that point where we know the direct sale is going through, we really quite a discussion in the last meeting about stopping the partition. You know, people don't want to risk that chance, and we don't really know, like they said, we don't know how the judge is going to react, and that's what Chris is going to try to find out for us.
John, you want to follow up?
Yeah, just to clarify, to make sure everybody's on the same page with the partition. There's two parts to the partition. Option one is on the sale and the partition and happening at the same time. And what you're doing there is trying to delay the partition if the sale goes through, so we don't lose it because we'll get more money. That's one thing, right? The other thing is, just so I'm clear, it's just because the sale is happening, we're not going to end the partition. The partition's going forward. The only thing we're working on right now, is trying to delay it so that the sale could go through, if that's the possibility. I want to make sure I'm understanding that and the owners are understanding that.
Yes,
Bill?
that's exactly it, I think.
Don't
You know,
think we're necessarily trying to delay it. We're
right.
trying to understand how the court will handle it if they start bumping into each other, as far as they want to move to complete the partition, and we still have X number of days left on the PSA, and how that would be handled.
Tim?
And it really comes down to what Jan was talking about on her timeline. If we're able to end the after the first entitlement period, we probably won't be bumping into each other. If we get into the second entitlement period, there's a possibility that the dates will start bumping into each other. So that's really where we are right now. Is we don't think that the court, if we stay on the single entitlement period, we think that things will cruise through without bumping into the partition. If we have to add that extra 90 days or some amount to the original 90 days, we're afraid that once we get into January, we might start bumping into partition issues.
That sounds like a severe punishment by the judge if they would do that.
Well,
We
While
hope
we're
the
asking
judge
the
will see
question.
it that way too. Yeah.
All right, so that was the last item that I had. Any other items any board members to bring up? Gil?
Talking about the budget, I know we have to have the budget ready by what, 6/17, Tracy? We have to be able to give the HOA owners the assessment amount by 6/17. That's 2 weeks before the start of the new period.
So as I mentioned on the previous calls, we will give the budget report out to the owners on the official June meeting, the official board meeting, and we'll be ready for that.
When's the official board meeting? In June.
It's a good question. I believe we moved it. We would have been the 17th, but we moved the
moved it.
official meetings to the fourth Wednesday, and that's the 24th. So we need
Okay,
to
well,
check.
that's too late.
We need to check with the bylaws and
Mhm.
see what it states. Correct.
It states the last board meeting prior to the new budget season.
It says 2 weeks. We have to tell owners 2 weeks before the new assessment period what their assessment is going to be. So that would be the 17th. It just happens to be on the same day we would normally have at least a special board meeting. And what I'm asking is that the board get presented with the budget on the 10th. So at least we can look at it and see if we're all in agreement, if we have any questions, we can get those answered before we get to the 6th on the 17th. We don't want to get to the 17th and then the board's got questions and then it's delayed and we can't tell owners on the 17th what that is. So I would hope that by the 10th, which is next week, we would have at least a preliminary budget in front of us to look at.
We would.
All right. Any other board comments? Then I'll ask Marion.
Yeah. I have two issues. unless I dreamed it, didn't the announcement about the agenda say something about the reserve fund? It's my first question that you were going to talk about.
Do you want me to give that update down, John, or you?
Since it's been asked, yes, if it's available, sure.
Yes, so we have stood up a reserve payout committee. We just literally met last night. And during that meeting, we talked through options in which we could potentially pay out some of the reserve funds that we currently have, the 15.5 million. We're going to continue to have a meeting. I believe the next one's going to be next week, once we get our footing on who's going to work on what, to see how that process will work with the mortgage companies as well as owners who have back HOA fees. Once we learn more, we'll bring it back to the owners for an update.
Okay. Okay. My second question is I submitted a question to you all and have never gotten an answer. And it is about late fees and liens. And so question is, can the association still collect what is owed if there is no lien? That's one question. And the second question is, if that is the case that you can collect, wouldn't it be cheaper not to place a lien because that has legal costs?
I'll answer part of that, which is that we have not considered applying additional liens than what we have already. I think we have liens on everybody who had at the time, a couple of months ago, owed over $3,000. We have not applied or had the additional legal costs for anybody over that. I'll leave the other first part of the question. Any other board members want to handle that one?
According
Randy.
to, and you were right, Marion, on your first part of that question. We still can collect late fees or delinquencies, even if there's no lien.
Good, good, great. Okay.
Okay, can we unmute John?
Yeah, I thought I heard somebody say on the board that the budget can be presented at the next board meeting. And just so you know, I'm reading from section 7.1 of the bylaws. It says such budget and each owner's corresponding assessment shall be an obligation shall be delivered to the owners no later than 2 weeks prior to the beginning of the next fiscal year. So I just wanted to clarify that. That's what the bylaws say, just so that you can look it up in 7.1. Thank you.
All right, thanks, John. Okay, I think we should make this the last question. Mary, can we unmute Mary Merriman?
Okay, I just want to get back to clarifying this. Respond in terms of what's going to happen with our HOAs. Can we get it reduced until the final sale? Can we get it eliminated? And when and if will there be any payout, and when? And approximately how much? I realize the entire amount would not be paid out, but basically I'm asking when will there be some relief for some of the owners? Either payout or HOA elimination or reduction.
Tracy.
Mary, that's exactly what we discussed last night. Once we get back together next week and work through what that looks like with the payout amount and how much we want to hold back for any type of legal fees that we may have, we will look at disbursement based upon percentage of ownership. We will also need to take into consideration, I mentioned earlier, the mortgages, who has first right to distribution. We're going to double check that with legal to make sure that that is truly what that states. Then we will look at the HOA fee delinquencies. And then from there, we'll come back and meet with the owners to talk through what our options are. We would definitely have to get a third-party accounting company to actually do the distribution percentage of ownership and distribution of those funds. We would not want to do that ourselves. And then we'll have to figure out what that process timeline is. It will be complicated because of all the pieces of distribution that may need to happen. But we'll let you know what that process will look like and how long that will take.
Paul, can we unmute?
The goal is sooner than later.
Yeah, Paulette, and please, would like owners, this to be the last question.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to ask.
Thank you, Nancy.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to ask Tracy, is there going to be any consideration for the length of time that the gutted units have had to be paying full fees and not be able to be in their condo all those months where there were other people living in the building and the gutted units could not be? Just wondering if that's being taken into consideration for distribution of funds.
Based upon the bylaws, the distribution is based upon percentage of ownership. So they will get the amount that's due to them based on that. We haven't discussed anything associated with special treatment or different treatment for the 08 stack.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, if no other items to discuss, is there a motion to adjourn? I see Gil and Tim seconds. Okay, all those in favor of adjourning? Okay, thank you very much.
To exec session, right?
To executive session.